So like to first chant the invocation to the Bhagavatam. Like to welcome all the devotees. Thank you so much for joining us today. Wanted to seek your good wishes and your blessings so that we can share some nectar on the Srimad Bhagavatam chapter 2. It really is the most amazing, one of the most amazing chapters. So let me just see if you are able to see. No, you can't see what I'm seeing. Let's start again. We're just going to do the invocation prayers first. Okay. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirye nasta prayashu badreshu nityam bhakta sevaya bhagavati uttama bhakti bhavati naistiki. Okay, this one. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, fantastic. So last week we covered chapter 1, and this week we'll try to cover chapter 2. We will read a few verses and then we'll take a little pause just to give a little explanation of what we just read. But the second chapter of the Bhagavatam has some very key elements to it, which we will see as we're going through it.
Vyasu vacha iti samprashna samristo vipranam rohamaharshani pati puja vachastesham pravaktum upachakrame.
Ugrashava, that's Sutta Goswami, the son of Roma Harsana, Roma Harsana, being fully satisfied by the perfect questions of the Brahmanas, thanked them and thus attempted to reply. So if you recall, there were 6 questions that were asked by the sages in Naimisharanya. And Sutta Goswami systematically answers those over time.
Sutta vacha
Yam prana brajantam
anupetam petakritam vaipayano viraha katara ajuhava putreti tanmaya tayatarvopi nedus tam sarvabhuta hridayam munim nontasmi.
Srila Sutta Goswami said, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto that great sage, Shukadeva Goswami, who can enter the hearts of all. When he went away to take up the renounced order of life, sannyas, leaving home without undergoing reformation by the sacred thread or the ceremonies observed by higher castes, his father Vyasadeva, feeling separation from him, cried out, "Oh, my son!" Indeed, only the trees which were absorbed in the same feelings of separation echoed in response to the bereaved father.
Yasvanubhavam kilashruti sharmekam adhyatma deepam atitrishtam tanon anandam samsarinam karunaya purana guyam tam vyashashunam upayami gurum muninam. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto him, Shukha, the spiritual master of all sages, the son of Vyasadeva, who, out of his great compassion for those gross materialists who struggle to cross over the darkest regions of material existence, spoke this most confidential supplement to the cream of Vedic knowledge after having personally assimilated it by experience. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devin saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiriyet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayan, unto Nar Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author.
So we take a little pause there. 4 verses. It's basically Sutta Goswami, who is initially reciting this Bhagavatam. He's offering his obeisances to his spiritual master, Shukadeva Goswami. Before replying to the sages, he offers his obeisances to his guru, Shukadeva Goswami, stating how out of Sukadev's great compassion for materialists like us, he spoke this confidential knowledge. He also offers his respects to the Supreme Lord, Narayan. We saw that verse. We've actually recited it twice. That was the invocation verse that we recited just at the beginning of this class. So we offer our humble, respectful obeisances to Lord Narayan, onto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, onto Mother Saraswati, goddess of learning. Because we want to learn. We want to learn about the Supreme Lord. We want to learn about who we are. And also, we offer our respects to Vyasadeva, who's the author. Okay, so let's do the next slot.
Maya sadhu prishtoham bhavad veloka mangalam yat krita krishno samprashno yanatma suprasidati.
O sages, I have been justly questioned by you. Your questions are worthy because they relate to Lord Krishna and so are of relevance to the world's welfare. Only questions of this sort are capable of completely satisfying the self. Suprasidati. Completely satisfies the self. So when we ask about Krishna, that's when we actually become happy because we are asking about the Supreme Lord.
Savaipum shamparo dharma yato bhakti adoksaje ahatuki apatihata ayatma suprasidati.
And this is a really important verse. The supreme occupation, dharma, of all humanity is that by which man can attain to loving devotional service, bhakti, onto this transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. So this is a really interesting standard. Bhakti must be unmotivated. We're not doing it for pay or name or fame. And we try to do it without interruption. That really satisfies the Atma.
Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janayati Shuvairagyam Jnanam Chayat Ahetukam.
By rendering bhakti, devotional service onto the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from this world. These 2 things are very important, getting knowledge, jnana, and vairagya, detachment from this world.
Dharma swanastita pumsham vivakshena katosuya nutpadayat yadidratim shama eva hi kevalam.
The occupational activities a man performs according to his own positions are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of the personality of Godhead. This is quite key. We can be in any position, highest, lowest. If Krishna is not in the center of our activities, it's just useless activity. So this indicates that even if we have the lowest position in society, if we are connected to the Supreme Lord, then we are engaged in bhakti. And that's the topmost platform.
Dharmasya hi pavargasya nathor tayopakalpate nathasya dharmaya kantasya kamo labhaya hi smita.
All occupational engagements are certainly meant for ultimate liberation. They should never be performed for material gain. Furthermore, according to sages, one who is engaged in the ultimate occupational service should never use material gain to cultivate sense gratification.
Kamasya nendriya prete labho jivate yavata jivasya tattva jignasa nato yasceha karmabhi.
Life's desires should never be directed towards sense gratification. One should desire only a healthy life or self-preservation. Since a human being is meant for inquiry about the absolute truth, nothing else should be the goal of one's work. Very powerful statements here in the Bhagavatam. These are really phenomenal statements. So we did verses 5 to 10. Sutta answers the first two questions of the sages, explaining that the ultimate benefit for people in general is to become free from material bondage and develop love of God through bhakti. By rendering devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. At the moment, we have great attachment to our family, our wealth, our bodies, our senses, our pets, whatever it may be. This is what's going to keep us in this world forevermore. But the idea is to become detached from this world and to become attached to the Supreme Lord. And that is very, very possible. Even in this, our condition, current condition, it takes knowledge, it takes detachment. This knowledge is acquired through the study of the scriptures, the Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam Puran. And detachment comes naturally when one becomes more and more attached to the Supreme Lord. Occupational duties should be God-centered. Now, this may be a little tricky because we are doing all sorts of jobs and have all sorts of duties. Somehow or other, if we can arrange our mental situation in such a way that everything is connected with God, even we may be working in a material position or situation, but our focus is always that this, my dear Lord, is for you, then that becomes God-centered, even if it is materially motivated to a certain degree. So occupational duties should be God-centered rather than self-centered, and they do not attract one to hear the message of, if they do not attract one to hear the message of the Lord, it's just useless labor. Yes, it's great. You've earned some money. Big deal. Big deal. Let's go into the next verses.
Vedanti tattva vidas tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramameti bhagavan iti sabhyate.
Learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance three things: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So we'll see that in a little detail in these few verses.
Takshadadana munayo jnana vairagya yuktaya pashyanti atmani chatmanam bhaktya shruta grihityaya.
The seriously inquisitive student or sage, well-equipped with knowledge and detachment, realizes that absolute truth by rendering devotional service in terms of what he has heard from the Vedanta Shruti.
Athapumbe dijo shrestha varnashram vibhagasa sanustistasya dharmasya samsede haritoshanam.
O best among the twice born, it is therefore concluded that the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging the duties prescribed for one's occupation according to caste divisions and orders of life, is to please the personality of Godhead.
Tasmat ekena manasa Bhagavan Sattvatam Pati Shrotavya Krititavyascha Dhyaya Pujas Cha Nityada.
Therefore, with one pointed attention, one should constantly hear about, glorify, and remember and worship this personality of Godhead, who is the protector of the devotees. This is quite a key verse, one pointed attention. If we are all over the place, we are going to be nowhere. But if we are focused in our purpose, then we will succeed. No matter what we do, whether it's materially or spiritually, if we're focused, we'll succeed. Of course, we want to succeed spiritually because we want to be with the Supreme Lord and not entangled in this mundane world.
Yad anudyashina yukta karma granti nibandanan chindante kovidastasya kona kuryat katharatim.
With sword in hand. What's that sword? Sword is the weapon of knowledge. Intelligent men cut through the binding knots of reactionary work, karma, by remembering the personality of Godhead. Therefore, who will not pay attention to his message? So this is really critical again. This chapter, every verse is just extraordinary. Sutta explains how the serious student, through knowledge and detachment, realizes the absolute truth, which has three aspects. This might be a surprise to some people. How can God have three aspects? Well, there are. There's the formless aspect. There's the localized aspect. And then there's the personal aspect. We'll go into that in a little detail in a minute. So we can understand these three by bhakti. This pleases the Lord. Thus he advises, Sutta Goswami advises that with one pointed attention, one should hear, glorify, remember, and worship the Lord, and thus cut this binding knots of karma. So what are we talking about? The three aspects of God. What's this all about? So let's have a look at it. There's the Brahman. The Brahman is regarded to be the formless aspect of God. Just like we have the sun and we have the sunshine. The sunshine has no form, is all-pervading. Similarly, God is also very effulgent. From him comes this effulgence, is called Brahman. It's formless, Brahmajyoti. Second aspect of God is the localized Paramatma. Whilst we are in this material world, with us, always accompanying us, is the Supersoul, Paramatma. He is another aspect of Godhead, Supreme Lord. Everybody has Paramatma with them. So in this body lives two Atmas. One is us, and the other is Paramatma, Vishnu. He's considered to be an expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's a localized aspect in the hearts of all living entities. And just like we described the Brahman to be the sunshine, Paramatma is regarded to be the sun's surface. And then we have the sun itself, Bhagavan, the personal feature of the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom comes Paramatma, from whom comes Brahman. So this one pointed attention that Sutta Goswami is talking about is to Bhagavan. That's whom we focus all of our attention. Why? Because Brahman and Paramatma is already included in Bhagavan, but it's not the other way around. So the analogies, again, sunshine is the Brahman, all-pervading aspect of the Lord. Those who want to merge with God, they want to become God. That's their aim. I want to become God. So their destination, if they perfect themselves, is this Brahman. But it's not a place that we really want to be, because there's no activity in the Brahman. And we are always active. We're always doing something. The soul is active by nature. So this Brahman may not be the right place for that soul. So that's why it is recommended that we worship, have this one-pointed attention on focusing on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You may know him as Krishna. There's one God. He can be known by several names: Krishna, Rama, Vishnu, so many names and so many different forms. Whoever you're attracted to, you can dedicate with one-pointed attention, with full bhakti, to that personality. Okay, let's move on to the next section.
Susrisho Shraddhatanasya Vasudeva Katharuchi Shan Mahat Sevaya Pipra Punya Tirtha Nishevanat.
O twice-born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all vice, great seva, service is done. By each service, one gains affinity for hearing the messages of Vasudeva. So it's important to find those devotees who are free from all vices and serve them. Very important.
Shinvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Vidayanta Stohi Abrani Vidunoti Shrit Satam.
Sri Krishna, this personality of Godhead, who is Paramatma, the super soul, in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge to hear his message, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. So we have material desires. That's why we're in this world. We have desires for money, fame, name, family, so many millions and millions. I want an iPhone, I want an iPad, I want this and that. So these desires, when we attach ourselves to the Supreme Lord, he cleanses those desires from our heart. If we become eager to hear about the Supreme Lord, these material desires will automatically be destroyed by the Supreme Lord. We won't have the taste for a new car or a new watch or anything, because we are so engrossed in remembering the Lord.
Hasta Praishu Padreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki.
By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. So listening to Bhagavatam and serving the devotees will establish bhakti yoga within our hearts.
Tada rajastamo bhava kama lobdayaschaye chetayate anuvidan stitam sattve prashidati.
As soon as irrevocable loving service is established in the heart, the effects of nature's modes of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankering, disappear from the heart. Then the devotee is established in goodness, and he becomes completely happy.
Evam prashanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yugataha bhagavad tattva vijnanan yukta sangasya jayate.
Thus established in the mode of unalloyed goodness, the man whose mind has been enlivened by contact with devotional service to the Lord gains positive scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material associations. Sometimes people believe that, oh yeah, you're a man of God, that means you have no faith in science. Well, actually, God is the greatest scientist. And if we become dedicated to God, we get this positive scientific knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Automatically, it comes within the heart. The Lord will provide it.
Vidyate hridaya grantes chidyante sarva samsaya shanti chasya karmani trista evatmanishvare.
Thus the knot in the heart is pierced, and all misgivings are cut to pieces. The chain of fruitive actions is terminated when one sees the self as master.
Ato vai kavayo nityam bhaktin paramaya muda vasudeve bhagavati kurvanti atma prasadanim.
Certainly, therefore, since time immemorial, all transcendentalists have been rendering devotional service to Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, with great delight, because such devotional service is enlivening to the self. So we can take a little break there and just go through these verses. Yeah. So by serving the pure devotees, one gets a taste for hearing the message of Vasudev. The Lord in the heart cleanses desires for material enjoyment, and loving service unto this Lord is established. Fixed in goodness, enlivened by contact with bhakti to the Lord, the devotee gains positive scientific knowledge of the Lord. Therefore, all transcendentalists eternally render devotional service to Lord Krishna with great delight. So we have this incredibly great fortune to be placed in this category of those sages, great devotees who worship Krishna exclusively. We're not being sentimentalists or what's the other word? From the word I'm looking for, closed to any other options. But actually, the fact that if we render service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, through the mercy of the devotees, the pure devotees, then the doors of the spiritual world are wide open to us. And this is the most incredible aspect of Bhakti Yoga. We can cut all of our material karma, our attachments to this world, and gain access to the divine.
Sattam rajastam iti prakti gunaste yukta parapurusha eka ihasya date stiti dhyahari virinchi harite samkhna sheyam sitatra kalu sattvatano ninamsyu.
The transcendental personality of Godhead is indirectly associated with the three modes of material nature, namely passion, goodness, ignorance. And just for the material world's creation, maintenance, and destruction, he accepts the three qualitative forms of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Of these three, all human beings can derive ultimate benefit from Vishnu, the form of the quality of goodness. So sometimes we have this Trimurti. Some people say, oh yes, this is our Trimurti. Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, they're all the same. Actually, they're not. It's described that Vishnu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Shiva is Vishnu when he wants to touch this world. He transforms into Lord Shiva. And Brahma is a living entity like you and me, but he is very powerful and he's very, very pure. So this is a very common mistake that even we Hindus make have this misunderstanding that all are one, one is all. it's not actually correct. Even in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna actually explains the position of the Supreme Lord and the position of the Devatas. So we shouldn't be too sentimental. We may have been brought up in a certain tradition and a culture, but if that culture and tradition does not agree with the scriptures, then what is the use? So we'll talk about that in a little while, a little bit more.
Vativat Varuno Dumas Tasmad Agnistaye Maya Tamasastu Rajas Tasmad Sattvam Yad Brahmadarshanam.
Firewood is a transformation of earth, but smoke is better than raw wood. Fire is still better, for by fire we can derive the benefits of superior knowledge through Vedic sacrifices. Similarly, passion, rajas, is better than ignorance, tamas, but goodness, sattva, is best, because by goodness one can come to realize the absolute truth.
Pejire Munayo Thakre Bhagavatam Adokshajam Sattvam Vishuddham Kshemaya Kalpanti Ye Nutan Iha.
Previously, all the great sages rendered service unto the personality of Godhead due to his existence above the three modes of material nature. They worshipped him to become free from material conditions and thus derived the ultimate benefit. Whoever follows such great authorities is also eligible for liberation from the material world.
Mumukshavo Gura Rupam Hitva Bhuta Patinta Narayana Kala Shanta Bhajanti He Anushu Yavaha.
Those who are serious about liberation are certainly non-envious, and they respect all. Yet they reject the horrible and ghastly forms of the demigods and worship only the all-blissful forms of Lord Vishnu and his plenary portions. The demigods, as Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, they get their rewards from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So whatever they give to those who follow the demigods are got from the Supreme Lord anyway. And their rewards are temporary and they're limited as well. This is exactly what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. So here it's confirmed in the Bhagavatam that the worship, we respect all, but the worship is exclusively for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Very important. Sorry.
Rajastamaha Prakatavya Samashila Bhajanti Vai Pitrubhuta Praje Sadin Shriyashvarya Praje Sava.
Those who are in the mode of passion and ignorance worship those in the same category, namely the forefathers, the other living beings, and the demigods who are in charge of cosmic activities. For they are urged by a desire to be materially benefited with women, wealth, power, or progeny. So this is the point. Mostly those who worship the devatas, they want some material benefit, some material gains, because they are in this category of passion and ignorance. So we have to transcend that, go to the mode of goodness at least, and not want anything from the Lord except to serve him. Not an easy task, but that's where we should be. Okay, yeah, two together.
Vasudeva para Veda, Vasudeva para Makka, Vasudeva para Yoga, Vasudeva para Kriya, Vasudeva param Jnanan, Vasudeva param Tapaha, Vasudeva paro Dharmo, Vasudeva para Gati.
In the revealed scriptures, the ultimate object of knowledge is Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. The purpose of performing sacrifice is to please him. Yoga is for realizing him. All fruitive activities are ultimately rewarded by him only. He is the supreme knowledge. All severe austerities are performed to know him. Religion, dharma, is rendering loving service unto him. He is the supreme goal of life. That's it. So let's just have a quick look at that section. Very interesting section. The Lord accepts 3 qualitative forms of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva in order to create, maintain, destroy. And we know this, right? Brahma creates, Vishnu maintains, Lord Shiva destroys the material world. Of these 3, we can only get the ultimate benefit from Vishnu. If one wants to worship Shiva and Brahma, nobody's going to stop that person. No problem. But won't get the ultimate benefit. If one wants the ultimate benefit, then the focus must be Vishnu. Those who are serious are not envious, and they respect all. They do not worship the demigods, but only the Supreme Lord and his plenary portions. Krishna is the ultimate goal, and religion is rendering loving service unto him. So this is quite an interesting picture. We see here, there's Lord Vishnu seated on Ananta Shesh. This is Shirodakshaya Vishnu. Lakshmi Devi is there, massaging his feet. And this is Lord Brahma, 4-headed. In our universe, there's many, many Brahmas in all the other different universes that exist. Some have many more heads because the universes are bigger. But he is a living entity like you and me, but he's very special because he has the 50 qualities in full manifested. And he also has received the mercy of the Lord to assist him create. So he's regarded to be one of the Gun avatars, empowered by the Lord to create in the mode of passion. And then here we have seated Lord Shiva. He's an extraordinary personality. Extraordinary personality. When Vishnu wants to touch this world, he becomes Shambhu, he becomes Shiva. So Shiva has his own place. He's not a Jiva like us. We can never become Shiva. Shiva is a category of his own. Very special personality. He's a very kind-hearted, compassionate personality. Anybody who's been rejected, he will give them shelter. That's why he lives in cemeteries. He gives shelter to the ghosts and the hoblings. This is really extraordinary nature of this divine person. And what is he doing? He's meditating. Who's he meditating on? Sankarshan. He explains to Parvati that the best is the worship of Vishnu. And even better than the worship of Vishnu is the worship of devotees. He's also regarded to be the greatest Vaishnav because he worships the Supreme Lord himself. So this is, we can now go to the final part of the Bhagavatam, of this chapter at least. Oops. Okay.
Sa evadam sasar grajagre bhagavan atma mayaya sad ashad rupaya chasho guna maya guno vibhu. In
the beginning of material creation, that absolute personality of Godhead, Vasudev, in his transcendental position, created the energies of cause and effect by his own internal energy. So we'll talk about that in a little while. Very interesting. This is the process of creation is described here.
Taya vilasitas eshu guneshu gunavan iya anta pravishta apati vignanena vijrimpitaha.
After creating the material substance, the Lord Vasudeva expands himself and enters into it. And although he is within the material modes of nature and appears to be one of the created beings, he is fully, always fully enlightened in his transcendental position.
Yatahi avihito vahane tarushva eka svayonishu naneva bhati vishvatma bhuteshu cha tathapumam.
The Lord as Super Soul pervades all things, just as fire permeates wood And so he appears to be of many varieties, though he is the absolute one without a second.
Ashoguna Mayir Bhave Bhuta Sukshmendriya Yatma Bi Swanirmeteshu Nirvishto Punkate Bhuteshu Tadgunan.
The super soul enters into the bodies of the created beings, that's the Paramatma, who are influenced by modes of material nature and causes them to enjoy the effects of these modes by the subtle mind.
Bhavayati esha satvena lokan vai loka pavanaha lilavatar ranurato devatirya naratishu.
Thus the Lord of the universes maintains all planets inhabited by demigods, men, and lower animals. Assuming the roles of incarnations, he performs pastimes to reclaim those in the mode of pure goodness. So this is the end of chapter 2, which has got so much incredible information, just the most incredible chapter. And I just wanted to summarize the last bit as well. In the beginning of material creation, the Lord creates the energies of cause and effect by his own potency. He then enters into the cosmos by expanding himself as Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. There are 3 Vishnus, so we'll talk about them in a minute. He further expands himself and enters into the bodies of all created beings. That's the Lord. The Lord maintains everything. He comes to reclaim the souls in the mode of goodness, pure goodness. And this answers the questions 3 and 4 of the sages. So what is this? Who are these 3 Vishnus? And this might be a bit of a surprise to some of you. I thought there's only one Vishnu. Actually, this is a diagram which we've constructed through the eyes of the scriptures. And the scriptures we've talked about or consulted to create this is the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita, and the Brahma Samhita. Lord Krishna is regarded to be the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. I know some people regard Vishnu to be the original because when Krishna came 5,000 years ago, first came Vishnu, from who then appeared baby Krishna. So the notion is that Vishnu is the origin of Krishna. Actually, the scriptures say otherwise. And they demonstrate otherwise through the different pastimes, the different leelas, through the different philosophies. So, and if somebody says Vishnu is the supreme, we don't really argue because it's one and the same person. Whether it's Vishnu or Krishna, it's one and the same person in one sense. So from Krishna comes Balaram, then comes the quadruple expansion of Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Padumna, Aniruddha. From Sankarshan comes Narayan. Narayan lives in Vaikuntha, none different from the Lord in Vaikuntha, from whom comes 4 and the second quadruple expansion, Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Padumna, and Aniruddha. From Sankarshan, the second Sankarshan comes Mahavishnu, the first of the Vishnus, Karana Dakshaya Vishnu. So let's see who he is. This is him. Karana Dakshaya Vishnu, when he breathes out, millions of universes come out of the pores of his skin. Millions of you. And we are living in one of those universes, the smallest one. When he breathes out, these universes come out. When he breathes in, the universes get destroyed within his body. His one breath lasts for 311 trillion 40 billion years. That's a lot of time. That's one breath. That's the life of one universe. So that's Karanadaksha Vishnu. He is the original cause of this material world, the primary cause. Now, the second Vishnu, he expands into every single universe. So I'll give you an example. Our universe, this is the covering of our universe. This is the second Vishnu. He's known as who creates all the universes, he expands into every single universe as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. From Garbhodakshaya Vishnu comes this lotus petal. And this is on which Lord Brahma is manifested, who is in charge of this little material creation. And then we have the third Vishnu. So let's have a look. Who's the third Vishnu? His name is Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, Paramatma. So that's Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, who is in each universe, then expands himself to be in every single living entity. There's 3 Vishnus. All right, so that's a lot of information that's been shared today. And it's a lot to digest. The second chapter is one of the most extraordinary chapters I have ever read, I've ever come across. There's so much information, so much nectar. But it is overwhelming. It can be difficult to digest in one sitting. Are there any questions or any comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, everyone. Very nicely read by Jayanti and
Yes.
explained by
I
yourself.
tried. It's not as good as Shruti, but I tried.
It was good.
Yes, but nobody can equal Shruti Jayanti,
Of
can
course.
we?
Thank you.
Nobody can. You know, every individual has got their own capacity. So we should not compare.
Of
The
course.
thing is that you dared come and read, right? That is the beauty of it, right? Because you wanted to read from your heart and you wanted to share. That is the point. The point is not who is higher, who is lower. Even Shruti will tell you the same thing, that she's still learning. Everyone is still learning. Even Nabi is learning when he's teaching, isn't it?
We
Yes.
learn more, isn't it? You
Yes.
learn more.
Yes. Yes, teaching is learning, right? So I have 2 questions, which are not from Bhagavatam actually. Questions that I have been asked, but I am not too sure. So I am asking you. You want to stop recording, or you want to record?
It's still recording, yes.
So you want to stop it, or?
Record the question.
They're not personal questions, are they?
No, these are for on the Bhagavad Gita itself. So
No
one
problem.
question
Yeah,
is
no problem.
why? Okay, one
But
question
before
is
you
why?
ask, before you ask, I just wanted to check. Surya, do you have a question on what we just shared?
No. It's quite heavy, but very interesting. Obviously, I need to go through it again to able to digest it more. But it's coming on, and I'm really I was amazed that although your regular Sanskrit reader is not there, but Jayanti could jump in and do it. I'm amazing, amazing couple, both of you.
She can do anything. She can run a
No, I
marathon.
noticed that yesterday when you were doing in the interfaith thing, and Jayanti was there to back up a lot of stuff, and it takes time for you to think sometime, but then she decided to jump in and give you the answer.
She's
So there
faster
you
than
go.
I am. She's much better than I am.
So
Believe me.
I'm, amazing couple, and I'm very grateful that I'm on it. But it will take a little bit of time for me to be able to jigyasa the material itself.
What I'll do, if you don't mind, I'll put you in another group, which is online Vedic knowledge. And what we do is we share this presentation and recording as well.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you
so much. Thank you very much. Yes, yes. So, Indira Kamaji, please ask your questions.
Yes, my question is, somebody asked, it's not me. For me, I am okay with that. Why did Vyasadeva did not narrate the Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj, and why did his son do it? So my answer is,
Yes.
You see, if my answer is wrong, you correct me, okay? My
Yeah.
answer was that Sukadeva Goswami is not from this world. He is a Parvati of Radharani, and he was sent. And he
Right,
listened
right.
to the Bhagavatam from Lord
Right.
Shiva and how he got into the womb of Vyasadeva, Patnis, and so on. So Vyasadeva, he was a householder, and he was in this material world, although he's in incarnation. But it was the glory is to glorify Sukadeva Goswami. That's why he was delegated to narrate the Bhagavatam. So now if I have to add something, you do add please.
That was a really good answer.
Yeah, very good.
Only thing I would add is the Lord, he can actually only be understood by the devotees. Even the Lord himself doesn't understand himself.
Yes.
So
yes, that's what I say. I say, I don't understand much, but this is what I have gathered. I don't really, nobody can understand the Lord. So it is his wish, his desire.
But even the Lord himself doesn't understand himself. But the self-realized souls, and in specifically here we've got Sukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj, that's why they conversed about the Lord, because they then can enter into the nectar. And that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would discuss the Bhagavatam with Gadadhar Pandit for 3 hours every day. But it was, who was doing the explaining? It wasn't Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It was Gadadhar Pandit. So why was Gadadhar explaining to Chaitanya? Because the devotee has a greater appreciation of the Supreme Lord than the Supreme Lord has of himself. So Gadadhar was preaching to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was relishing 3 hours every single day. Bhagavatam.
Yes. Okay.
So
Thank you, Prabhuji.
It's good answers. Good answer.
Okay. My second question, the second question was, what happened to the bhoga when we offer to the Lord? What happened during the process? After we have offered, what happened?
And what was your answer?
So my answer was that this bhoga is sanctified, is purified, then it becomes prasadam, and then we honor it. But they want to know the process. This is another question. And this is for tomorrow morning. I have to prepare for that for tomorrow morning.
Process is very simple. This is prasad is the mercy of the Lord. So as soon as we offer it, the process is the Lord simply glances over it and makes it non-different from himself. That's the process. It's very, very straightforward. He doesn't do any, there's no, huge ceremonies that need to take place. In fact, as soon as you put the plate on the altar, even before saying the mantras, that already has become prasad. The Lord is very eager to take the remnants or take the offerings of his pure devotees. So as soon as it's on, you don't even have to bother with any mantras, believe me, because the Lord, he's hungry for the love of his devotees. That's what he always aspires for. And he sees that love through the cooking, it manifests through the cooking, because the devotees, they put their heart into the cooking for the Lord. So this is prasad, this is mercy. There is no huge process to be involved here. It's just simply the devotee's love and the Lord's reciprocation with that love.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you for those questions. Very nice questions.
And I'm so happy tomorrow morning you are starting the Brahma Samhita. But
yes,
for tomorrow, I am already booked. I am busy. I will try from next Saturday. Yeah. Yes. So also, when we are reading this Bhagavatam, it's nice to tell the story of Gop Kumar, how he was one-pointed.
Yeah.
So my Sunday class, I'm giving Sunday class will be on that topic. So yes, it's very nice.
Well done. Fantastic. Fantastic. Good. Thank you so much, Indulekamaji.
Thank you.
Very
Prabhuji.
good. Very good. Oh, Sunday we are also celebrating Vyas Puja of Guru Maharaj.
Yes.
So
I got your message. But as I told you, I'm sorry, I would like to attend. I'm giving a class on Sunday. This is my problem.
Yeah, yeah.
I've already been booked since a month now.
No
and
problem.
I cannot do that.
No problem. No
Yeah.
problem.
Okay, thank you.
You can
Prabhuji.
send
I
your
will try.
friend who can read on your behalf.
If you have time, yeah.
Okay, okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. If there's no more questions or comments, we can wrap it up. And I'd like to thank everybody for joining us. And it's such a fantastic adventure, such a fantastic journey. So,
So
you know,
who will be
Suryadev-
teaching the Brahma Samhita?
Sorry?
Who will be teaching the Brahma
It'll be
Samhita?
Karuna. Karuna is teaching.
Okay, good, good.
So Surya, you know, there's 335 chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam, 18,000 verses.
Yes, 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 yes.
So we've started on the journey. It's going to be a long process,
Yes.
but a very sweet journey.
No, definitely. I will try and, be with you as best as I can, and my situation allows me. I will. I was really. I really thank Ashwinji for connecting me with both of you yesterday, and I think this is why I started. The Lord is sending, me to you so that I learn Srimad Bhagavatam.
He sent you to us. So we can relish it together. So
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Yogini.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Bhavna
Bhavna.
Ben.
Hello.
Hare Krishna.